Leslie.
Oh, we can still go. She can come downstairs when she gets here.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I'll call this 2 o'clock special call meeting of Mayor and Council to order. We need an adoption of the agenda. Do I hear a motion we adopt the agenda as written?
So move.
Got a move? Do I hear and a second? All in favor? Unanimous. All these buzzings up here with the phones going on. Okay, public comment. Please state your name. For those who want to, please state your name and address for the record and limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Good afternoon. Just a couple of quick comments. Here we are, another special meeting headed by another executive session. Now, I understand that the law certainly allows and accommodates for executive sessions, but man, we just seem to be having an awful lot of them of late, and I particularly have a problem with those that lead off the agenda, where the council goes off and is gone for the last time 50 minutes, come back, there's a quick vote, no discussion, and I think the public deserves something more than this. Sure, executive sessions are necessary, but I think there ought to be some communication as to what the heck is going on from an overall situation of transparency. We're not getting it. And the last meeting was a typical example, but not the only one. So, now, I yield to Mr. Mecklin as to calling executive sessions and what's necessary, but I'd sure like to see some way of restraining so many of them. I understand what we've been going through, and I accept that, but it even happened before this. The other comment that I want to make, we're about to launch a major search effort to find a new city manager. And is there some way that the community could be more involved in this process? Either working to help define maybe what some of the needs and priorities are of the city, of the community, maybe reviewing resumes, maybe even being involved in interviewing on a non-ex officio member. There are a lot of people in this community who have great experience in doing this. And I just ask you and urge you to find a way to get some more involvement of the community in this very important process. Thank you.
Thank you, John. And as I always make this comment, someone from staff will get back in touch with you with those answers. In this case, I would guess that would be me. So. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I could respond also to one of John's comments. I acknowledge that we've had a lot of executive sessions here in the last few weeks. And, my default position is generally that things ought to be open, ought to be out in public. Everything ought to be out in the open and public as much as it can be, and we'll always strive to do that. It has been an unusual time over the last few weeks, and I apologize for that. I won't ever advise the council to go into executive session unless it's permitted by law and also makes practical sense. I mean, just because you can go into executive session doesn't mean you have to. But the discussions that we have had, have made practical sense to go into executive session also. But your point's well taken, and we'll strive to be as transparent as possible.
Any other public comment? If not, we'll close that section of the agenda and move to tab A, executive session. Mr. Mecklin, you want to read that?
Yeah. There's two reasons why we're asking to go into executive session right now. One is on a meeting to discuss or vote on the purchase, disposition, or lease of real property as provided by Georgia Code Section 50-14-3B1B. And the real purpose of that is that on this piece of property that we're talking about, we don't want to disclose the potential purchase price because it could impact what the city has to pay if it chooses to buy it. We do have to take action in public before we do buy it, but the discussion of it, including the price, needs to be in private. The second item is the issue of meeting to discuss or deliberate upon the appointment, employment, compensation, hiring, disciplinary action, or dismissal, periodic evaluation or rating of a public officer or employee is provided by Georgia Code Section 50-14-3B2. And again, the real purpose for that is so that the City Council can discuss the potential consideration of people for interim management of the city as an employee. So I would ask that there be a motion for those two purposes.
I'll make that motion.
Motion and second, all in favor? Unanimous. We are in executive session.
And just for the public's, I'm guessing that this may be 15 to 20 minutes. Let me conduct for you.